There. Welcome into the Ben Maynard Program. Thanks for being here. Guess what tonight is? That's right. Give yourself a star if you got it right. Tonight's Friday. We are live, so it is Friday Night Live. So again, thanks for joining. I greatly appreciate it. As you can see, if you're checking your time, we're a little bit late. Just a little bit late. And, I gave you all absolutely no notice. So I don't expect to have much participation tonight, but we'll see how it goes. I mean, you guys are full of surprises, and so anything can happen. Let me try something here real quick first. I'm looking at myself on the camera. I think we need to zoom in a little bit. Zoom in? Yeah. Yeah, that's okay right there. For now, that's good because it's just you and I. It's just you and I tonight. So cool. Anyway, gosh darn it. You know what I'm looking at here? Let me put this banner up. For those of you who are listening, you don't see the banners, of course, but for those of you who may be watching, you see all this stuff. And I don't know what's going on here, but my settings are getting changed here. I don't get it. Everything is it's all locked in and it's set. I had to do this last week. I had to do this last Friday. If you joined in last week, you remember I was playing with this. Okay, now we're back to normal. So anyway, thanks for being here. Well, before we get started, a little bit of housekeeping, a little bit of business to take care of. As you know, this program is available wherever podcasts are streaming, available on all podcast platforms. So all you have to do is just search the Ben Maynard Program and you'll find it. There it is. Boom. Okay. And I think you can subscribe on, to particular podcasts on these platforms. So as you're searching the Ben Maynard Program and you find it, then please subscribe. Okay. And every time a new episode is posted, you'll get notification on it. Let me change that right there. Yeah, I'm just doing everything on the fly. As I said, we started only 20 minutes late, 21 minutes late. I'll get into that in a minute. It's not a big deal, nothing special, but no notification today. And there's a reason for that too, but we'll get into that. So again, the program's available wherever you stream your podcasts. Okay. But like normal, if you don't want to just listen and you have to take in some of this, and I don't blame you if you do, come on. I'm a lot to look at, right? Then, and you're watching on YouTube, then please just do me a favor, subscribe to the channel, give me a thumbs up and leave a comment because I do reply to your comments. Last but not least, follow me on Instagram, simply Ben Maynard Program, all one word. Okay. With that, there are plenty of ways to take in this show as I turn off. No, I won't turn it off yet. Boy, right in the middle of my thing, but there are plenty of ways to take in this show for your dancing and listening pleasure. And with that, here we are. It's Friday night and we're live. And boy, we're really live, aren't we? No prep, no nothing. Nothing. We're trying to do some of the same stuff we normally do on Friday Night Live. And we're going to have the Malort challenge. And for those of you who might be new to the program, this bottle that sits right here on the table, this is Malort, the worst tasting liquor out there. All right. So if you call in and the phone number at 909-268-5135 for those listening, it scrolls along the bottom of the screen. So if you call in, then I have to take a shot of this delicious, and I say that ever so lovingly, delicious Malort in this dusty Mr. Spock shot glass with the Bean Boozled bean, which I think it's a hot one based on the color, stuck in the bottom. Oh, there, it just loosened itself. Been sitting here, right here on the table in studio for the last week. That glass has been sitting here for months. Sometimes it gets used and sometimes it doesn't. So whatever ends up in that glass ends up in my gullet. So that's the Malort challenge. We'll play Stump the Chump. If anybody calls in with music trivia and you stump me, again, got to take a drink of this beautiful stuff right here. So that's kind of where we are right now. I do have a special announcement that I want to make, and I'm going to save that for later on in the show. And for those of you who know, you know. For those of you who don't, that's what's called a tease. Okay, so you have to stick around for the special announcement. And I promise you, it really is special. And not only that, but it's very, very important. And it does have something to do with this podcast. Okay, so you're going to want to stick around. You're going to want to listen to the announcement, and that'll be coming up in a little bit. And like always, I don't know how long we're going to go tonight. It just depends. If I have something to talk about, we're going to talk about it. If I don't, then you and I are both out of here. So we'll see where it goes. All right. But before I get into anything, let's take care of some business. Okay. Let's see here. Let's just start with some celebrity birthdays. Okay. Today is what? Today's February 28th. All right. And let me double check and make sure I got the right date here. Yeah. I think I got the right day right here. I don't know how you wouldn't. But celebrity birthdays. Now I'm looking at a whole bunch of them on the screen here, and I'm like, okay, yeah, they're not getting any run on this show. And I'll explain why in a minute. But the first one, Luka, I think it's Doncic. He's an NBA player. As a matter of fact, he was with the Dallas Mavericks, and just, I don't know, 2-3 weeks ago was traded to the Lakers. So that's actually how I know that name. I think it is Doncic. Anyway, Luka is 26 years old. And let's see, actor Jonathan Davis, he's 25 today. And everyone knows this name, Jason Aldean. Jason is 48 years old. So I'm liking that. That's great. Digging that stuff. There's other names on here, but I'm sorry. When it says a Roblox star, reality star, YouTube star, TikTok star, you're not getting any run on this podcast. It's not happening. Okay. And no, it's not. I don't care how much this program blows up. I'm never going to be a YouTube star. That's just not going to happen. Okay. I'm never going to be, podcasting star. That's just dumb. So for them to, no, forget it. Sorry. I'm looking at my iPad right here. Sorry. You're not getting any run on this podcast. It's just not happening. So that's it for our celebrity birthdays. Whatever. We had 3. Sorry, gang. So let's move on. What else do we have? Come on here. Today, I love there's a website. It's called Days of the Year. I subscribe to it, so I get the emails once a week, and it gives me what all the national holidays are for each day of the week. So today is National Tooth Fairy Day. So have you heard of the little visitor that brings treats to kids when they sleep? Wouldn't that be creepy? Having a stranger come into your home while you're asleep? Who else does anything like that? I'll give you a minute. It's fun. Yeah, when we were all kids, we loved losing our teeth, right? You take your tooth, you put it under your pillow, you wake up in the morning and there's like, I don't know, a quarter or 50 cents under the pillow. It's like, where'd this come from? That's awesome. So today's National Tooth Fairy Day. Also, love it. Also, today is National Chocolate Souffle Day. Hey, Catherine. Today's National Chocolate Souffle Day. Can I get one of those before the show's over? From our kitchen. Kidding. Oh, okay. So, chocolate souffle. Love that stuff. Love that stuff. Um, yeah. So, all right. And you know, let's see, significant events that happened on this day. Let's see. Oh, let's go from old to more current. Here we go. On this day in 1906, American gangster Bugsy Siegel was born in Brooklyn, New York. In 1922, Egypt was declared an independent country. And I think most people in the audience will recognize this name, but basketball coach, actually more specifically, collegiate basketball coach Dean Smith. He was one of the most successful basketball coaches in NCAA history. He was born in Kansas this day in 1931. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. What else we have here? Oh, on this day, I do remember this. On this day in 1983, the final episode of the incredibly popular TV show MASH aired on television. And it at the time, and actually for many, many years, it was one of the most highly viewed television shows of all time. They say at the time it was viewed by like 106 million people. That's incredible. Yeah, that's just, and you know what's weird is I don't want to say it was before my time because I think the show aired from 1972, 1973, somewhere around there. So it ran for about 10 or 11 seasons. Now maybe I was a little bit young to take it in when it first started, maybe the first few seasons, but as I got older, I watched a lot of television, and that was a show I never watched, and I don't know why. Don't know why, because shows around that time, and on that network as well, I watched All in the Family and the Jeffersons and Good Times, and so they were all on the CBS network, and I watched those shows, but for some reason I didn't take in MASH. I don't know why, but it was an immensely popular show. It was always, I remember seeing or hearing about like the TV top 10 each week, and it was always like in the top 2 or 3 week in and week out for its entire run. So just an incredibly popular show. Let's see. What else? In 1991, the Persian Gulf War. That was triggered by Iraq's invasion of Kuwait, and it ended as Iraqi leader Saddam Hussein accepted a ceasefire agreement. That was in 1991 on this day. Last one on this day, Pope Benedict the 16th became the first pope to resign since Gregory the 7th in 1415. I remember Pope Benedict because I believe he was, 2013. Yeah, I think he was the first one to take over after Pope John Paul II. I think so. I know he wasn't pope for an incredible amount of time, and Pope John Paul II, he was pope forever. But I do remember Pope Benedict, and I don't remember him resigning. But then again, it was 15 years ago, or no, I'm sorry, 12 years ago. So who knows? But that's what's going on this day in history, and that's kind of it there. So I was off work today, which was great. I loved it. And I had something special happen this morning. It was so cool. So cool. As you all know, I'm good buddies with a gentleman named Larry Reedy, and he does a podcast out of Batesville, Indiana. Larry's 86 years old. He's a veteran. He's a great patriot. He's a great Christian man, and he's got this podcast that I think he's been doing it for about 2.5 years or so, almost 3 years. And if you're not aware, he was on the program back in November of last year when I did the Veterans Day weekend celebration. Larry was one of my guests, and he was wonderful, wonderful. So this morning, I was a guest for the first time ever on any podcast. So I was on his podcast this morning, and we had a good time. Let me spell that name for you. It's LARRYREIDY. Okay, that's how you spell Reedy. And his podcast is called Larry Reedy's America. You can just look it up. It's available on all of the streaming platforms, just like this one right here. So you can look it up. He's got a ton of episodes just covering a ton of different stuff. He'll do this day in history. He'll talk about past presidents and give histories on them. He'll actually, he does a series on whiskey and beer tastings. They do tastings on different kinds of foods from various restaurants in the area. He has people from the community coming in and talking about things that they do, organizations they're with. He just does a whole lot of different things. And so it's just a potpourri of all kinds of stuff. And he is a great guy. So I think I mentioned last week that 3-4 weeks ago, he had texted me and asked me to send him a top 10 list of songs and a top 10 list of movies, my top 10 on each category. And he did a couple of episodes, and he actually read my list of each one on the various episodes. And it was fun. I listened to those with the group of guys that he had, and everybody had their own list. And some of my stuff ended up on some of the other lists. It was good stuff all around. So then Larry asked me to come on his show, and we were going to talk about music. He wanted to talk music. Okay, let's talk about music. So we did. And I'll say this, we had a ball, but we didn't just talk about music. Honestly, we went for about 2 hours, and Larry is just like me. He doesn't edit anything. So he's not editing any of that stuff out. So it was a great conversation. It was good stuff. We talked about a whole bunch of things. I've never, outside of the high school newspaper when I was a senior and got interviewed by the sports columnist, I've never been interviewed by anyone, and I don't count going on a job interview necessarily an interview. You know what I'm talking about. So, yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. We had like I said, some good conversation, just back and forth stuff. And Larry's a great guy. And him and I have really become friends since he was on the podcast back in November. And we'll just call each other, text each other from time to time. And what was really neat, even though it was kind of like an interview, it was more of a conversation. But what was so funny is that our conversation this morning, was no different than any conversation that we've previously had on the phone. We just talk. We just talk and talk and talk and talk. And that's the one thing that you have to be able to do in order to do something like this, talk on the radio or have a podcast, that kind of thing. Is you have to be able to talk. And Larry and I are cut from the same cloth. So that was a lot of fun. Good stuff. So check it out. It's going to it's going to publish. He'll publish it, and it'll be out on Sunday. So this coming Sunday, what's that? March 2nd will be the day it's available. So you can go out and listen to it. Remember, it's Larry Reedy's America, and he also has a website, larryreedy.net. So just go check it out. It's fun stuff. It's good, and Larry's a great guy. And I already told Catherine. I told Larry. Larry's like, "Hey, come on out whenever you want." And I told Catherine. I said, "We're going out to see Larry. We're gonna go out and see Larry. We're gonna go hang out in Batesville for a little while. Maybe Larry will put us up in his 40-acre spread for a couple of days, but that would be a kick in the pants." So good stuff. Check it out. Check it out. Larry's a great guy, and he puts together a really, really good podcast. So then earlier this week, I think you guys all know that I'm a fan of Eddie Trunk, who has a show on Sirius XM, and it's music based, of course. And there's somebody, one of the fans put together a Facebook page. Time out for a second while I take a drink. Okay. So one of the fans put together a Facebook page called Fans of Eddie Trunk, or Fans of Trunk Nation. That's what it is. Fans of Trunk Nation. And so I'm a member of that page, and I look at the postings from time to time, and sometimes I'll comment, sometimes I'll just like something, sometimes I just scroll right on by. And one of the members of the page, a listener to the show, his show, not mine, he made a comment. He posted a comment basically saying he's thinking about putting together a podcast, music-based, kind of talking about some of the things, some of the topics that Eddie likes to cover during the week, but bringing kind of a recap element to it, that sort of thing. You know, what do you guys think? Does anybody on here think that's interesting, or whatever it might be? And so I just simply commented to him. I said, "Hey, if you're interested in a partner, send me a message." So he messaged me, and long story short, we talked last night. Guy's name is Shannon. And coincidence or not, he's from Indiana as well. Not from Batesville, but he's from Indiana. So he called me last night, and we talked. Oh my gosh, we talked like an hour and a half. What's up with all these talkers? I guess it's a good thing, though. Must be something in the water in Indiana. But it's a good thing if you're going to do a podcast. You're going to have to be able to talk, and you're going to have to tell a story as well. You're going to have to be able to tell stories that will, keep the listener listening. And so we just talked about a lot of cool stuff, music-wise, things like that. And I'll let you know where it goes on that. So there might be a second podcast coming, not a solo job. We'll see where that goes. Shannon and I, we're going to get together in the next couple of weeks and talk some things out. We'll do some, because he wants to do a video component to it as well, just like this one here. And so we'll do some testing, maybe a test show or two, and kind of see how it works out. And yeah, it's all good. It's all good. So crossing my fingers, because I think it'd be tremendous. I really do. And I look forward to it. So, and like I said, first off, you're not going to talk to somebody for an hour and a half on the phone and not feel like you have some commonality. Okay. It's just not going to happen. That conversation lasts 10 minutes tops. Okay. So it was good stuff. Shannon seems like a really, really cool guy. And I look forward to it. So I will keep you all informed as things progress. All right. So the reason why I got started late tonight is, as I told you, I was off work, and so I was off today. Did Larry's show, and then I was just relaxing, just doing a whole bunch of nothing because I've got a nice work schedule next week, and I'll take advantage of a couple of days off to catch up on some stuff around the house. So I thought, you know what? No, man, I'm not doing anything today. And then, of course, tomorrow, if you were with me last week, um, tomorrow I'm the best man in Darren and Rebecca's wedding. So that's going to be fun. Looking forward to that. But so I'm just kicking back, just doing nothing. Catherine's working, and I was just sitting with her in the living room while she's pounding away on her keyboard and getting things done. And then about 2 or 2:30, she says, "Oh, we got to go out to Best Buy in San Bernardino." Now, of course, not everybody that watches or listens to this show knows where San Bernardino is. You don't even know where Chino Hills is, but San Bernardino is about 40 miles. Yeah, it's probably about 40 miles east of here. And so, yeah, traffic in Southern California sucks all the way around. And so she says, "Yeah, we got to go out there. We got to go. I got to go check some stuff out." Best Buy is a client of her company's. And so she heads up a program um, and kind of oversees Best Buys. And so it's like 3:15 and we're driving out there. And it took us nearly 2 hours to get there. And that was a lot of driving in the carpool lane too. So it sucked. And by this time it was nearly 5 o'clock our time when we got there. And we both decided, no, when we're done here, we're gonna go a couple doors down to get some dinner because I don't want to be hangry. I just don't. So after the Best Buy deal, we did. We went a couple doors down. We got dinner, and good dinner. It was great. Everything was great. And then we kind of tried to rush home. And when we pulled in the driveway, it was literally, I think, 6:59. And we always start Friday Night Live at 7. But since I didn't give any notice today, I thought, well, I'm going to do it anyhow. And if anybody joins the show, excellent. And if they don't, well, then that sucks for me. But if I start late, what does it matter? Nobody is going to be sitting by their computers waiting for me to come on the air. So it's all good. And then what's funny is we're at dinner and Brother Jim is texting Catherine and he's saying, "Hey, what time, not what time." He asked something like, "Hey, when Ben is on, when Ben's doing the podcast, do you want to share an adult beverage? We like our barrel-aged stouts and so on." And Jim's been into brewing his own stuff as well. So he likes to come over and try it out. Although I don't think he brought anything that he brewed. I think he brought something over from the brewery. But Catherine and I weren't even out of my truck in the driveway. And Jim's pulling up, man. He knew when we were going to be here. So, they're downstairs in the dining room sitting around. I don't know what they're sampling. I think Jim brought over a Black Tuesday, I think. So I'll probably take a drink or two of that. And because that's good stuff. It really is. It's good stuff. And it's even better when you just kind of take it easy. All right. So that's what's going on. That's why we got started late tonight. That's kind of what's happening for the weekend a little bit. And I don't know. I see there's some people watching. So by all means, if you're watching, call in. Please, at least send a comment. But remember, if you call in, I got to take a drink of this. It's not a drunk show, but it's my punishment for you engaging. So here's what we've got going on. And the reason why I'm making this announcement this week is because what I'm going to mention takes place next Friday. As you know, in the month of March, a big celebration day is St. Patrick's Day. And then in the month of May, first week of May, there's Cinco de Mayo. Now, what do those 2 days have in common? A lot of drinking. So last week I started thinking about it. I think it was Sunday when it hit me and I said, "Yeah, that's what we're doing." Next Friday, uh, next Friday, I'm going to do a to keep it comedic and to keep it light. I'm going to do a drunk show, okay? But it's not for the purpose of getting hammered because that's not what I do. Um, it's my public service announcement to this audience here. I'm a huge proponent of drinking responsibly. Okay. Uh, I'm big about that. Being responsible, not getting behind the wheel when you've had even one too many. Okay. Even it can be even dangerous when you haven't necessarily had one too many, but you've still consumed. So with those big days coming up, I wanted to put this out again as a public service announcement. And the way it's going to run down, and we'll end up going over and covering the ground rules next week, but is I'll be drinking during the show. Catherine was going to join me up here in studio, but she remembered that she's got a church function that evening, so that's where she'll be. So instead, our daughter Tess is going to come sit in studio with me and not just keep me company, but and be a part of the show. But she is going to, along with you, see the effects that alcohol has on a person, whether they realize it or not, as time goes on. It's a very important thing to me. Fortunately, if it gets out of hand for me, my bedroom's across the hall, so that's a good thing. But I just it hit me on Sunday, and I thought, okay, this is really important. So let's get this done. Let's get the message out, and I want to put it out a week before we get into St. Patrick's Day, so that it's not just, oh, well, if you didn't see it on Friday, if you didn't see Maynard get trashed on Friday, you're going to miss out on St. Patrick's Day. You're going to miss the message because St. Patrick's Day is Sunday. I don't want to do it that way. I want to do it a week in advance, and I want to give it time for the audience to take it in, watch, listen, however it is, and really get the message. And we've got some stuff going on that's going to be happening. I'm not just going to be sitting here at the table just drinking. Okay, there's going to be a little more to it than that. It's just going to be a regular show. So that's what's going on. That's what we have going on for next Friday. That'll be Friday Night Live. It's going to be a live stream. Tell your family and tell your friends. Really, honestly, I know. Here's my plea. Okay, tell your family and friends to tune in. I'm going to. Oh, yeah. Let me say this. I'm going to try and start the show at 6 p.m. Pacific time. I have to work next Friday, so it's all going to depend. But that's the plan. I will put out. I think I'm going to put out a notification. Maybe Sunday, maybe Monday. I'll post it on Facebook. We'll post it on Instagram. I may try to do a short video that'll go out on YouTube as well, just to remind everyone before Friday that this will be happening. And I just, like I said, I feel really I just feel really strong about this, and I feel so strongly about this that I want you to tune in. I want you to have your family and friends tuning in, for an hour and 20 minutes, whatever it is. Okay. I don't know how long the show's going to go. It really is going to kind of depend on a few things, but the most important thing is it's getting the message across to people. the effects of alcohol, and let you see firsthand how it all plays out. I know that in the past, I look, I won't sit here and tell you, the audience, that I've never been drunk. I've never driven drunk. I will say that. And I can look you in the eyes and tell you that. However, there have been instances where I was not the designated driver, but I had so much to drink, and we'll probably get into it next week as well. I don't want this, I don't want to spend the whole time talking about next week's show, but there's been a time or two where I wasn't a driver and I had a lot to drink on a particular night. And I sat back and I told myself, I understand why people get into trouble. I understand now why it happens, because my mind is telling me I'm good. But the rest of me, I'm saying, there's no way I should be anywhere near behind the wheel of a vehicle. And so that's kind of where it is. And it is a really important thing to me. And so I want to kind of just pass along my public service announcement to you, the audience, next week. So that's what's going on next week. Next Friday Night Live is the, I don't know. Right now it's just the drunk show, but I'll come up with something better to call it. I hope, because it sounds terrible. Anyway, but you know what? Maybe that's just what it is, right? So that's really kind of all there is going on right now. No sense in just sitting here gabbing away, looking at myself, looking at the number of viewers, waiting for somebody to call and nobody does, waiting for comments and nobody comments. It's fine. It's okay. Really, I promise you. But there's no sense in just staying here, tying up time and taking up your valuable time. So, but I did need to get that announcement out to you because it's that important. So make sure you tell your family, you tell your friends to tune in next Friday. Be looking at 6 p.m. Pacific time. It could change to the normal time at 7, but right now, a week in advance, it's a special time of 6 p.m. Pacific time. Okay. If it changes, there'll be notifications out there. All right. So with that, as always, this program is available on all of the streaming platforms out there. Just search the Ben Maynard Program. You'll find it. It's there. Go with it. If you do that, just subscribe to it and you'll get notifications when new episodes publish. Okay. However, if you're joining on YouTube because you just can't get enough of this right here, I know I can't get enough of it, then, thanks for watching. I appreciate that. Subscribe to the channel, give me a thumbs up and leave a comment. All right. Comments are great. And I reply to them. Last but not least, follow me on Instagram, simply Ben Maynard Program, all one word. That is it. Short show tonight. Maybe I got to start working it out and getting ready for next week. Maybe that's why. But short show tonight. Greatly appreciate you being here. I love each and every one of you. That is the truth. Honest Injun. And as always, this is the Ben Maynard Program. Tell a friend.